Hi guys, so I am now here at the Bentley Kuala Lumpur showroom, and with me here we have it's a very special day. Today is the media preview of the all new Flying Spur, and they have provided us with all three generations of the Flying Spur on display. So I'm going to walk you through all three generations of them. First, this car here we have, this is the Continental Flying Spur. This is the first generation model, launched in 2005, 15 years ago. Yeah, so the design has aged a bit, but this car really has lost none of its regal stature. This car still looks, like a vehicle fit for the CEO of a multinational corporation, a head of state, one of those patriarchs of an ultra rich family. This car, even though you can get one of these for what, 100K in the used car market, this car still is a very potent, very effective demonstration of wealth. Because let's put it this way, a lot of people can afford a 100,000 ringgit car, but how many of you guys can afford 15,000 ringgit road tax a year? Okay, so it has a 6-liter W12 engine. That is been right here from the start, and they've continued with the subsequent generations. All carry the 6-liter W12 as well, with progressively improved states of tune. So this Continental Flying Spur, they still call this the Continental Flying Spur. This is the four-door version of the Continental GT Coupe, and the front end of this car basically is identical to the Continental GT. Okay, so yeah, the design, yeah, it has aged a bit. The back end of this car, really, it still has a very stately look about it, and at the same time it looks stately, and the overall design is very clean, very unpretentious, and this car, even right from this car, this expresses the key elements of Bentley's DNA, which is one, these are cars that are packed in, that are immensely luxurious, right? Crafted to very high standards of quality, yet at the same time they exude a high degree of day-to-day usability. So these cars, yes, you can bring them to these are the cars that you want to be seen arriving at the lobby of a 5-star hotel, but yet at the same time they are fabulous day-to-day companions, very practical, very easy to live with, and yet they still possess a very healthy dose of dynamics. These cars will easily give chase and outhandle many supposed sports cars, and they will keep up with the best supercars out there in the hands of the right driver. Okay, so here, this example of the Continental Flying Spur that you see here, this is borrowed from one of their customers, and yep, the car's exterior has held up pretty well. But of course, if you look closer to it, this car has quite obviously seen some use. You can see from there are some signs of wear and tear here. That is evidence that this car has been a daily driver for its owner. Okay, and it's a testament of its usability. So let's go inside. So this cabin, of course, will look a bit old school by today's standards. I'm not going to sit inside because I don't want, because this is a privately owned car. I don't want to accidentally, I don't want to sit inside. And yep, you can see the seats. Well, the seats have a bit of wear and tear, and as well as this trim piece here has a bit of wear and tear as well. But more, what I want to grab your attention to is, you see how they finished the entire door aperture. All right, the whole entire door aperture opening. It's all finish, covered nicely, neatly with leather. Okay, you can see the carpeting here. You see even here the dashboard, the leather wrapping. It covers the whole. Basically, you won't see any bits of exposed plastic anywhere in this car. Okay, here's the rather classic looking instrument cluster. Simple, right? Speedometer, tachometer, temperature gauge, fuel gauge, multi-info display. That's the that's a touchscreen right there. Okay, still very button laden. Remember, this is 2005, so there's still a high dependence of buttons at this period. Okay, yeah, they already had an electronic parking brake. The gear lever hasn't taken well to use, but this car still has an adaptive suspension. And the wood trim has held together pretty well. I'm not going to open that because I may inadvertently expose some of the owner's personal belongings, so we won't touch that. So we go to the back seat. Still a very pleasant, looks like a very pleasant place to be in. I'll head over the other side and open the left door as well, so to let more light into the cabin. Very spacious surroundings. Two individual seats at the back. No adjustability. Okay, not that I can see. Nope. There's no. The rear seats don't have adjustable function. Yeah, and you can see here the wood trim here has held up very well. Okay, the buttons here also still in good shape, but the seats, yep, they've seen some wear, but this is unavoidable. Why? Because in order to give that plush feel, right, they have to use a very soft grade leather, and soft grade leather inevitably they are not as hardy as some of the harder, well, less luxurious feeling grades, but still it's a trade-off. Okay, and you can see once again here all these, right, all very neatly finished. The whole door opening aperture very neatly finished. Okay, so I'll close the door. Right, so it has soft closing. It has 4-door keyless entry. Back in 2005, this was still not a common feature just yet. So here we have, this is the second generation model. They've dropped the Continental name. Now this is, at this point, 2013, this car branched out to be a standalone model separate from the Continental family. It still retains the front end still retains the familiar four-eyed look, right? Big expressive grille. Yeah, but I really like this second generation model. I think the design has aged very well. Yeah, it still looks good. This car still looks good. It looks stately, and yeah. So we come to the back. They have made significant changes to the back. You can see the first gen model over there and the second gen model here. Big change to the rear end. But but still the overall ethos remains, right? The design is very clean, very understated, and this is a car that actually I've noticed that Bentley cars, they don't tend to look that good in pictures, but when you see them in person, they tend to quietly impress you. Okay, so yeah, I think this second generation Flying Spur has aged very well. It's still a very impressive looking car, right? And so you can, just to bring you to some details, you can see the headlights here, for example. This is an era where car makers have, the headlights have just gotten fancier and fancier. So much more detail here compared to the first generation car. Okay, and now they've added this the side grille here. Okay, the B motif, you notice, right? B. And 4-door keyless entry still. I'm surprised at this stage they haven't gone to the touch type keyless entry. There's still a button here. Okay, Once again, this example here, this is a privately owned example, so I'll be very conservative in exploring this car. Let's open the door. So this being a newer car, the interior trim, of course, is in far better condition than the first one. All right, and so you can see here we start with the center stack. So this particular example here has the Breitling clock here. Lovely, man. I love having analog clocks in the car. I think they just make a dashboard look so much classier. And this is a very, very expensive option in Bentleys. Okay. So here's the instrument cluster. You see, it is the same basic design as the first generation model. Of course, the screen here is improved. It's a high-res display, but the same layout that it's the same basic layout that we saw in the first gen car earlier on. Okay. In fact, the whole cabin, this cabin architecture looks and feels like an evolution of the first generation's cabin, even though the exterior is much more radically altered. One thing that surprised me, however, is that both the first gen car and this one is using top hinge accelerator pedal. Usually I would expect a car of this class at this price point to use a floor hinge accelerator. So to see this, this is a bit of a surprise to me. Okay, but still, the overall build, the fit and finish of this cabin is really utterly spectacular. Right, beautiful selection of materials, not a single weak point that you can see in the fit and finish. So the headrest here has the Bentley logo, and as with the first gen car, you can see the door aperture beautifully finished all around, not a single gap. Now we come to the back seat. Now this particular example is spec'd as a 5-seater, but I don't think you want to sit in this space for long. You can of course pull the arm. There's a foldable armrest down here. Okay, and so seat adjustment here, individual seat adjustment here. Oh wow, what's this? Okay, right. So this one here, you open this. This gives you access to a CD player, SD card, HDMI, USB connection. Very neat. Okay, very neat. This also is a little touchscreen here for you to access, I believe, part of the infotainment system as well as the climate control. And here, there's a tray, okay, rubberized for you to put, well, maybe your small devices and whatnot. So yeah, this particular example, spec'd as a 5-seater. Okay, in compared to the first generation car over there, that was a 4-seater. This is finished as a 5-seater. But still, the other improvement that you can notice here compared to the first gen car, even disregarding the wear and tear, the selection, the materials here, okay, as you touch this here, it just feels plusher. Okay, it feels it just feels more pleasant, more luxurious. It feels even more luxurious than the first gen car, even taking into account that that car has seen some serious wear and tear. Okay, but as I said before, right, the signs of wear on that car is indicative that this car has been used daily by its owner for the last, what, I don't know, 10 years of its service life. So it's that car earned its money already. All right, now we come to the new one. This is the 3rd generation Flying Spur, all new. And immediately one thing that strikes is that the overall stance of this car, so much more dynamic than that one, and that is further emphasized, all right, by this black line trim. Of course, this is an option. This is optional. The car comes standard with chrome trim, but this particular example here is finished with the black line trim. Okay, that makes the car look even more aggressive, even more sporty. And the overall proportions of this car is just more squat, more dynamic. All right, the back end, they have they have shifted the number plate back to the bumper to follow the first generation model. Okay, the tail lights, you can see, illuminates the B pattern. All right, but still, following the theme of its two predecessors, the overall design has a very understated feel towards it. Right, it doesn't look, it doesn't look like they added details just for the sake of it being there. It's a very clean looking design. You know, once again, this is a car. The looks is not one that grabs your attention if you put this on the cover of a magazine, but in person, it quietly impresses you. Okay. One design theme that you notice here is that this hip line, okay, which you notice is present even in the second gen car over there. They have sharpened this. Okay, this crease is now made sharper, but that seems to be the only indulgence that the only little touch of indulgence that the designers allowed themselves, because otherwise this car is just yeah, it's very clean. It's a very clean design, very pleasant looking design, and I suspect this is a car that will age pretty well. The looks of this car will age pretty well. And okay, this being a showroom demo, I will sit inside. Okay, so major sign of progress. The instrument cluster has become a screen, but it still carries a relatively conservative display. Okay, and come here. So this is a rotating panel. If you start the car, I'm just going to switch on the ignition without starting the car, and so that screen just flipped out. Okay, let me just dial down the volume. So yeah, the display is nice, very nice, beautiful, crisp graphics. Okay, so and well, I may not be too familiar with the latest generation Volkswagen infotainment software. Okay, but some of the layout here, the buttons here, especially this one here, there's still that Volkswagen Group feel about it, but you can see that they've taken the effort to differentiate the look and feel. So you know that the underlying architecture there are probably some common components with a Passat or with a with an Audi A6, A8. All right, but they definitely put on their own, their own fonts, their own the switch gear is also has beautiful, man. This quality is beautiful. It's just so nice to press. Oh, and check this out. So you press the screen button and it rotates. Nice. Lovely. And this whole piece here is just a nice expression of flair. Bring you closer, you can see how these little details here, all very, very beautifully finished. It's lovely. Okay, and this is an ashtray, and I'm telling you this thing is heavy. Okay, this thing is properly heavy. Okay, so here, Bang & Olufsen audio, and notice that the Bang & Olufsen word is stamped on the door trim as opposed to being printed on the speaker. Okay, and this 3D effect, I'm told it's actually rather difficult and expensive to achieve. Okay, I'm not quite sure how they did it, but touching it, all these patterns, they feel solid to the touch. It feels solid to the touch. Absolutely spectacular interior. All right, let me just go to the back seat. Beautifully lit from the back here. This example is also ordered as a 5-seater. Okay, but oh wow! So you can see there are 2 USB ports here and a 12-volt socket. All right, cup holders here. See, nice rubberized, nicely rubberized surface there, and I think they've also progress with the times. So you can see these two slots here. It's a nice slot for you to park your phones. Okay, nice slot for you to park, for occupants to park their phones. Brilliant. Yep, it's the leather here feels very sumptuous. It's just a lovely place to be in. You've got a mirror here, drop down mirror here, lights. This is the, I think this is supposed to be the cabin light, but I'm not sure where to switch it on or off. Oh, touch on, nice. This one cannot on. Okay, maybe that's disabled, right? But you can see here the same, the aircon vent. You can see this motif here is duplicated from the front, and you can see here this is another touchscreen. Okay, the touchscreen has good response interface. The interface has good response. Nice, crisp graphics. Simple, pleasant to look at. Lovely. And you can see here it's all beautifully finished, the edges. All right, this is the car that you absolutely don't find any sharp or unrefined edges at all. Even in corners where you barely see, they took the effort to finish it beautifully. Yep, so this is really what what justifies any brand's aspirations to be considered a luxury car. It is that extra effort to make sure that every square inch of the car is, you know, finished with exquisite attention to detail. So I'm going to open the boot here. So you have to press this Bentley logo. Okay. All right. You see. Oh my God! I finally found it. I finally found a piece of exposed hard plastic in this car, in a Bentley. Okay, but really entirely forgivable. This also is something that this handle is something that most Volkswagen owners would be familiar with. Once again, entirely forgivable. That's the battery right there. Lovely. Okay, so guys, here you have it. 3 generations of the Bentley Flying Spur. And check this out. My God, this is nice. See the wings, the Bentley wings light up. It's stunning, it's beautiful. You know, really, man, really. The attention to detail in this car is utterly spectacular. And look at the lighting up of the lights. I'm not sure how well my camera is catching it. You see the B lettering there? Beautiful. Very beautiful. And let me just come and show you the tail lights then. Okay, so here's the tail lights lit up. Okay, so you can see the nice intricate patterns. Okay, lovely, man. I think this car would be absolutely spectacular to behold under night lighting. Absolutely spectacular. Lovely. Okay, wait, let me off that. So as not to drain the battery. Okay, so guys, here you have it. 3 generations of the Bentley Flying Spur. Okay, it all started with that. The Continental Flying Spur, a 4-door derivative of the Continental GT. Okay, and they have and the lineage have progressed very well over the years, very nicely. Okay, I'm not that big a fan of this, to be honest, but this is the car that got the ball rolling. This one aged really well, but that one is let me put it this way. I think that is something that, I don't know, man, if I ever own a Bentley, if I ever become rich enough to own a Bentley, I mean, this is just something that I aspire to.